Welcome back to the Curvaceous Bounty of Sin City on VegasAllNetRadio.com, the home of Dickwood in your finger.
There's nothing worse than getting Dickwood in your finger.
The shit
Hopefully
we do
I got
here.
it all. I think I have it all.
Good. So, I don't know if you know the story about my crazy fucking sister who lives in another state very far away. She's the one who has accused me of sexually molesting her. And seems to think that that's okay and we can move on with our lives and have a perfectly normal relationship. So today she has flown in to be with my other sister who's about to, birth a pup or something like that. And, right, my crazy sister seems to think that my youngest sister cannot do this without her, and so she quit one job and put another job on hold for a month to be here for a month. Now, this is someone who's been struggling with finances for so long that she lived in a van, literally in a van down by the river. Okay? Not working for an entire month. I don't know how she can afford that. I can't afford that, and I make what one could deem decent money if I weren't a single mom and living below the poverty line. But so she's out here, and I'm grateful that mostly we're being kept separated because I've made it abundantly clear that unless she apologizes to me, I want nothing to do with her. Mm-hmm. Nothing. I don't care if she's here. I don't care if she's at, my house with supervision. I want nothing to do with her until she until she apologizes for accusing me of sexually molesting her, because I didn't. You fucking psycho. So today she comes over and she has presents. She says, I have Christmas presents for Daniel, and I'm not paying any attention to her because I don't care to. Mm-hmm. But my son has some chores that he has to do, and so he does his chores, and I let him open the present, and she says, one of these is for me. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck she got me. And I was a little worried she might have got me a present because, let's face it, she's a fucking psycho. So she got my son, I'm assuming she didn't pay for any of this, but she got my son a really expensive Lego set. Really nice set. Not the one that he's saving up for, thank God, because I would have been royally pissed. Mm-hmm. I've made it clear to everyone, do not buy that for him because he wants to buy that for himself. But it was another one, and he loved it, and we put it together, and it's pretty badass. She gave me a book, and I knew it was a book as soon as I picked it up. You know what a book feels like when it's wrapped. And I was like, I was kind of a little bit excited because everyone in my family knows I love to read, and I have favorite authors that everyone knows about, and they've all put out new books recently, and so that it was a book. As I'm opening it, I'm like, oh wow, she's actually going to try to make an effort here. And then I open it up and I look at the cover, and I shit you not, I could not stop it from coming out of my mouth. I said, oh, that's only a little bit offensive. She got me Dr. Phil's 7 Greatest Methods for Weight Loss. My sister, who is maybe only a size or 2 smaller than I am, still in the more than double digits plus size range. I couldn't help it. And my mom, who was standing there, watched me open it. She must not have known that's what it was. And she goes, well, what is it? And I handed it to her. I said, it's a diet book. Now, this obviously is a gift from someone who knows nothing about the person they gave this gift to. She knows nothing about me. She knows nothing about the fact that I'm a healthy at every size movement, that I despise Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, right, and that I have no interest in losing weight because for health reasons I don't need to. If a doctor looked at me and said, you're going to die unless you drop 20 pounds, then we'll discuss dieting and losing weight. But every doctor I've looked at right now is like, your blood pressure's a little high, but that's probably because you're in a lot of pain right now. And that pain is from arthritis, which is not from your weight because it would be in both knees and not just one knee. So she knows nothing about me. She does not even know who I am anymore, and she's supposed to be my fucking sister. Here's my take on it. I would never in a million years ever, no matter how fat the bitch was, give a girl a diet book. Right. Unless she is one of those serial dieters who is always on a diet and trying something new, and you know that's her thing, and she'd be super excited about it. If you don't even know what this person likes, just get them a Barnes & Noble gift card. Get them a Barnes & Noble motherfucking gift card. Do not get them a fucking diet book. And it's not even a new book. Like, it's used. So, would you have been offended if your sister had got you a diet book?
I would have, but I don't think if my sister did it, it would be to be funny.
Okay.
My sister and I have a little bit of a different relationship, so so if she got me one serious, yeah, I'd definitely be like my brother gave me he bought me Oakley's, which was super exciting because he has his first real job.
Right.
But then he gave me a bunch of books he's already read and wrapped them. So I'm totally cool with used books.
Oh, no, I am too.
Diet books.
No, at the very least,
don't give me the diet books.
Right, if you really thought I needed to have a diet book, why don't you go buy one and maybe buy it from someone I don't think is a fucking crackpot joke. My mom and I actually got into a heated debate about, Dr. Oz over this fucking book. Because my mom's like, oh, well, Dr. Phil's good, but I love Dr. Oz even better. I'm like, you do realize that Dr. Oz has been brought up on fraud charges in front of the United States Congress. Right. Like, the government told a guy on TV, you need to stop saying what you're saying because you're lying. The government told someone else to stop lying. And it was flappy head motherfucker Dr. Oz. Fucking cunt ripper.
He's so bad he warrants the C word.
He does. He's so terrible. And I don't understand why people buy his magazine or still watch his... Does he even have a TV show anymore?
I don't know if his show...
I don't know. I think his show is off the air. I don't think he's allowed to have a TV show anymore. But he does have a magazine, and I get peddled the magazine all the time because I get a lot of magazines, and so magazines assume I want every magazine, and so I get like, hey, Dr. Oz has a new magazine. I'm like, ha ha ha. If I subscribed to the Dr. Oz magazine, it would be just for me to get it every month, take a giant dump on it, and then take a picture of it right next to my fat belly and post it on social media. That would be the only reason I would subscribe to Dr. Oz magazine. But I hate him so much, I don't want to spend my money on him.
I feel like now I want to see if there is a Dr. Oz magazine still. Because...
No, there is still, because Publishers Clearinghouse asked me to order it.
Did they?
Yeah. Well, because I've ordered a couple of magazines through them. Mostly, kids' magazines, because they have, a great selection of kids' magazines at really good prices.
The Dr. Oz show is still on.
Oh, is it? See, that's how much I hate him. I don't even know if his TV's on. He's a fucking panty waste. And Dr. Phil was okay right up until, I love when you have, asshole teenagers on his show, and obviously the problem is the asshole teenager, but the asshole teenager did not get to be that way. He just woke up one morning and said, hey, I'm going to be an asshole teenager. He had training in that, and that training usually comes from the parents, and so I believe both parties are equally to blame, and that's the only thing I agree with Dr. Phil on is you're an asshole teenager, and you're old enough now, you should figure that out and stop being an asshole, but he's only an asshole because you let him get that way. So, it's the only thing Dr. Phil and I agree on. I'm so offended. I can't, so you've accused me of being a child molester, and you have also given me a diet book. You fat cow.
So did you give her anything?
No. I didn't get her anything for Christmas.
You should have pooped on her book, wrapped it, and given it back.
Well, my mom said she was going to take it and read it and then promptly left it at my fucking house because that's how my mom is. Well, I'll read it then. Leave it at my house. You'll never read it. I love you, but you're never going to read it because, let's face it, we're happy with the way we are. Well, I am. I don't know if my mom is. She should be. Her husband loves her to death, and, he loves her exactly the way she is now. I'm sure he'd love her if she decided she wanted to lose some weight, but why? If you're happy, and your partner's happy, and you're healthy, which she's not because she's a smoker and she's going to die, because she smokes so much that she wakes herself up coughing and peeing on herself. That's probably TMI. But anyway.
Hey, Mom!
My mom doesn't listen to this show. She used to tell people about it all the time, but she doesn't listen anymore. And if she does, she knows exactly how I fucking feel about the whole situation.
I think I told you how I've told my mother many times, I don't want her listening to the show. So far as when Mr. Toxie played that joke on me, having my mom text me, what I was talking about on the show, thinking she was listening. So finally she said to me one day, she said, her fiance was asking her why can't she listen? And she goes to me, I'm really not sure why can't I listen? Because it's not that nothing I'm saying will defend her. Like
Mhm.
my mom's the biggest fuck advocate. She's
She's like, y'all should be fucking more.
where the fuck did I learn my language? My fucking mother. Why am I a fucking, why do I have a fucking sewer mouth? My mama. um, but I said, Mom, if you listened, then how can I tell people that you're a pot smoking hippie? And she's like, oh, okay.
But she wouldn't care, right?
She probably would not,
No,
but
no.
maybe I would stop. If I knew she was listening, I wouldn't be like, my mom's a total pot smoking hippie, and I was going to have to drive her into the bad section of town one day this weekend so she could meet with the dealer. I'm just saying.
Well, so my parents astound me. I come from my family put the fun in dysfunctional. Seriously put the fun in dysfunctional.
Uh-huh.
So my dad used to be a huge pot smoker, and the reason that I've never been really that big of a like druggie or pot smoker or anything like that is because the one rule that my dad had for us was if you're gonna smoke weed, you're gonna smoke my weed, because then I know you're not getting funky weed that's laced with something. And really, who wants to smoke weed with their parents? How uncool is that?
Let me tell you how uncool it is. There's a little story. Let me tell you how
It's
uncool
seriously
it is.
uncool.
I have probably smoked pot maybe a few more times than I can count on a hand. In smoking it, it dries out my eyes. I don't get the same reaction.
Do you get paranoid?
I don't even get paranoid. I had someone like one night, and by someone I mean Sweet Cheeks, give me something and say, "Hey, eat this." And I did, and the next thing I knew, I was sitting on a bench just drooling, like drooling. My eyes couldn't even stay open. I think it had a mix because I drink a lot of Red Bull. So like I don't think it mixed well with, like the really high like Red Bull and my personality when I'm like, up and crazy. And then that just made me a drooling idiot in the corner with everyone's
I
going,
play
what
with my lips.
wrong?
Beep, beep, beep,
But
beep,
I
beep,
couldn't
beep.
answer because I was drooling. So anyway, one of the first couple times I was in my mid 20s, which means like a year or two ago, and and so my friends were smokers, so I had done it a few times, and then I've always known my mom has smoked, so my mom was coming to my house, and I had a friend coming over, and it was a guy. A really nice guy, like total surfer dude, really
Bra.
awesome. He really cute, really adorable, like the blonde, Ken hair. You could totally picture him on the surfboard out there, and like, hey man. And
Bra, you gotta try the stinky
so
bra.
right, that's it exactly. So he came over to my house, and we were out in the garage, and my mom was there, and he's like, let's smoke. I brought something. So I'm like, all right. So we got in the garage, and my mom joins us.
Awkward.
So it didn't take long before my mom started hitting on my friend.
Hmm.
Really hitting on my friend.
And did he pick up on it?
Anyone with a pulse could pick up on it. It was not. It
She's
was
like, why don't
not
you put your dick in my
casual.
mouth?
Yeah, it was like two steps below. Can you put your dick in my mouth? It was like two steps below. It was probably the most. And my mom's done many things. I mean, like when I had a surgery, my mom had to like clean my vag. My mom has been with me, seen and done many things. Probably the most awkward moment I've ever had with my mother. So, lesson learned. That was a one and only time, and any other time she has asked, the answer has been hell no.
Hmm.
And one time I was even with her down in Mexico. She used to have a place down there, and it was a little like hippie commune with all other individuals
You
who
walk in, they hand you a box of condoms and a box of joints.
right. That's it basically. Yeah. That's it basically.
That's
And
my kind of
you
place.
just sit out. You're supposed to just go there, sit out on the beach and smoke a joint because the hippie commune is actually right on the beach.
Nice.
And so even there, and like all of her and her older hippie friends are all hanging out together, and they're like, "Do you want some?" And I'm like, "No,
Do not want to get high with all you old ass
it's
hippies.
not happening." And can you put your balls back in your shorts?
I love old naked dudes.
It's just,
They just do not
it's
care.
just not happening. So
Yeah.
yeah, lesson learned: not smoking pot with my mom.
Yeah,
That's why my mom
because
doesn't listen.
and that's I didn't really smoke a lot because my parents, specifically my dad, made it uncool. Well, it's like my parents have kind of flip flopped. Like my dad doesn't smoke. My mom was like, I don't smoke weed. Somebody's got to be the sober parent. Like she didn't
Right.
really drink a lot. And my dad was, an alcoholic who smoked weed and, buried his face in other women's titties in front of God and everybody. And he was that guy, the redneck biker hippie who really likes boobs. Like my dad's a tit guy. There's no question about that. Never. Like if I was 5 and you'd be like, "What's your dad?" "He's a tit man." Like that would be the answer.
He's a titty man.
Um,
Hey, Kelly Guy said she'd never read it. I'm assuming he means your mom
right.
because it's bigger than a pack of cigarettes and is not made from tobacco leaves.
That's
She
true.
never.
She would
she'd
never read it.
Can we kill that fan?
Yeah, we can kill the fan.
It is freezing.
There we go.
Thank you. If I didn't
The
have
fan has been
3 inches
murdered.
of padding in my bra, you could see like my nipples very
Nice.
erect. But because I have 3 inches of padding to make myself a firm B,
Yeah.
you will never notice.
So yeah, my so the cue used to be with my dad, let's go have a safety meeting, and my other 2 sisters are totally okay smoking pot with my dad, and I would occasionally go down and take a puff. The problem with me and pot smoking is that I become that idiot in the corner who is giggling all of the time. That is who I am. I'm playing, I shit you not, it happens every time. I end up in the corner of the room, in the corner of the couch, on a chair by myself, playing with my lips and giggling. And I'm like, literally doing that and be like, hee hee hee, that's funny. And then I giggle because I'm giggling, and then I giggle because I'm giggling that I'm giggling. And then I eat Doritos, drink Kool-Aid, and pass out. And that's how it goes every single time.
That time I told you about when I was given an edible
Yes.
by a co-host.
You wanted to eat Doritos and drink Kool-Aid.
Well, it was afterward that there had previously been food set up there. And I just remember I refused to eat the food because I thought, I guess where it was at and everything, it was, it had been sitting out and it was kind of gross and everybody was touching it.
Is this like testicle chips?
Not like testicle chips, not that bad. But I just remember thinking, like, when I came in, I'm like, yeah, no, stay away from the food. And then I do remember when the drool stopped and my mouth turned to cotton or whatever and sucked up the drool, that I was beyond starving. And I remember going over to the foil containers, like getting a plate and just digging everything I could out of there and eating it. So I didn't even care at that point. I'm like, I'm going to die from salmonella poisoning or something. I didn't even care.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, no, that's how I do it. That's why I don't smoke it that often, because I'm not, like, you hear about people who smoke pot and they become super creative. Great.
Right.
Smoke as much pot as you want. Make art. People who smoke pot and then they clean their house or they invent shit. I had a boyfriend who, if he smoked a bowl, he could build a rocket ship out of a fucking Coke bottle. Like, this guy became thousands of times more brilliant once he'd smoked a bowl of weed.
Right.
I encouraged him to smoke right up until he got convicted of a felony. And then we kind of had to stop that.
He had to stop while in prison.
Well, no, he wasn't in prison. He just couldn't smoke weed anymore. It was one of those, Wasn't really like anything bad. He got a felony for just one of those stupid felonies that shouldn't be a felony. You know what I mean? And so I couldn't ever smoke weed with my parents regularly because it's just insane. I become an idiot when I smoke weed, a giggling buffoon who just needs her own bag of Doritos and gallon of red Kool-Aid and just let me be. And then I pass out. I do not become an enjoyable party person when I smoke weed.
I think I'm basically the same. I think I'm a lot more mellow and.
Yeah, my parents have flip-flopped. Like recently, my middle sister is a pot-smoking, crunchy, patchouli-wearing, fucking working at a co-op hippie. Like, that's what she is. That's her lifestyle. That's great. It's fabulous. Like I do some organic things, because my kid is allergic to the hormones, so we, try to get as hormone-free crap as we can, and it's helped out a lot. But I'm not gonna go so far as to start eating kale chips, no matter how fucking yummy you say they are. But she's one of those
Now, I
crunchy
will
hippies who like tries to force her lifestyle on other
I
people,
will
and I
tell
hate
you
that. She's
that
like a proselytizing hippie.
I always try to give that stuff to my daughter. I'm like, kale chips, you will love them. No, mom, try that.
She's does she ever pull the you try it first?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you're like,
yeah, no, I will. And then I'll be like, it was so good. So good. But she was one of those little kids because I was a little bit more of like granola mom when she was younger.
mm-hmm.
And she was one of those kids. She was really good. Like when she was young, she would eat like tofu, no problem, and just whatever. She tried every type of random vegetable that I could possibly bring home, and
Mm-hmm.
she was really good about it. But years ago, I'm like, you know what? You used to eat tofu like it was going out of style. Why don't I grill you up some and see if you like it? And it basically made her gag, and like it didn't work
You gotta
out.
serve it in
So
miso. That's the only way I can really eat tofu is in miso soup.
right.
Otherwise, I've tried it and it's just not my cup of tea. I couldn't eat it every day. I
See,
couldn't
when
just
she
like.
was little, I could just cut it in chunks, put it on her her tray, and she would totally just
Yeah,
chunk it
my
up.
kid used to eat lemons that way too, but he doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was funny. My son we would order them like a plate of lemons, and he would just eat them like they were oranges, just
It's
But
like
he'd make that
oranges,
sour face.
Mom.
He'd make the sour face every time. He'd put it in his mouth, suck all the juice out, and he'd be like, "Oh, puckered up." And then once he relaxed from that, he'd grab another one and do it all over again. It's like, oh, you little masochist. Take after your mama. But yeah. Oh God, I can't stand my fucking sister. Her laugh makes me cringe now. It's like this. It shouldn't be that way. You're supposed to be my sister. I'm
Can't
supposed to want to. I really want to have a relationship with her and go back to being the way we used to be when we made up stupid shit like topes and, which is a funny story, and I'll have to tell you one time. When we all used to hang out and be cool and shit, but she's
I
not
couldn't
allowing
I
that
couldn't go
anymore.
back. If she had accused me of what she accused you of, I could tell you how very forgiving I am. I mean,
I
if you've ever heard any stories of my
yeah.
sister, you'll know I'm very forgiving.
It would it would
But
take a lot for me, but it would only take that first step of her saying, "I'm really sorry I said that about you." You know what? I'd even let go of me wanting her to admit that she's a lying sack of cunt shit. But I would accept, "I'm really sorry I said that about you." I would take that, and then I could make the first steps towards the road of recovery of having like my sisters back again. But she won't do it because she'll never admit she was ever fucking wrong because she's a psycho who needs medicine and won't take it because she's a fucking psycho. Ugh. All this shit's putting me into therapy, and I can't afford therapy anymore. You guys are my therapy.
That's it. We're
Do I
your
have anything from
therapy.
chat? Anyone in chat have any?
No, it was
Does anyone
chatty
from chat
earlier.
have any suggestions for me? I don't want to apologize for having opened my mouth and saying I find that that's only mildly offensive, because I don't think I should have to apologize for that. Although if I wrote in to Ann Flanders, she would tell me that I should have just accepted it gracefully and then regifted it to someone else. But
Yeah, like Ann Landers, but isn't she dead though?
yeah, but somebody
If
else
she
has
weren't, she would tell you that you should have smiled, accepted it, and then moved
regifted
on.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
But I couldn't help myself. You people have made me so loose. You've given me verbal vomit, like verbal diarrhea. It just comes right out. I couldn't stop myself. I was excited, and I think it was because how deflated I was, because I thought I was getting a book that I was gonna like or want or enjoy,
Right.
and it turned out to be a fucking diet book from Dr. fucking Phil, who's only one step above Dr. fucking Oz.
I have to tell you, speaking of sisters and gifts, so my sister had given my daughter an envelope for her birthday. It was at her birthday party, and it was, my sister doesn't have a lot of money, so we're cool if she doesn't give my daughter anything. It's not expected. It's
Right.
not, it's an agreement. Like it's cool, no worries. But she really, felt she wanted to this year, so she gave her an envelope, and the first thing in the envelope was an eyebrow threading coupon to an eyebrow threading place, which my daughter's not even old enough to go to, even if she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But she did. It was supposed to be funny, as a joke. The next thing was a $20 bill
That's
with a
cool.
little. It was with a little card saying like, "Hey, I didn't have change and I need 16 back."
That's funny.
So.
Well, see, a funny gift like that, if it had been given in just like a little post-it note on the bottom of the cover that said, haha, just kidding, or if she said, ooh, open it up and read what I wrote to you, and like there was some funny thing on the inside, like, get on with your bad self, I know how much you love yourself, or, something like, but it wasn't. She was seriously giving me a diet book. And I think she was giving it to me because she knew I would react that way. I think because she does that, she intentionally causes drama. And so if it had been anyone else in my life and that had come out, I would have immediately apologized and said, I'm really sorry. I don't know why I said that. Thank you so much for the book. I would have immediately apologized or come
Right.
back a few hours later and said, I was a real asshole. I'm really sorry. I don't want to
I was
now.
an unappreciative bitch. I
Yeah,
apologize.
I did something like that very much today to somebody else that I inadvertently offended, and I had to go apologize for it because sometimes shit falls
Bottom
out of my
line, never
mouth.
give Sierra a gift.
No, I love gifts, especially when it's a well thought out gift, because that's what I give. When I give someone a gift, I do not give gifts at everything for everyone at any time because uh, if I don't have the right gift to give somebody, I'm not going to just give them something because it has to be the right gift. It has to be something I know they'll use, I know they want, I know they'll cherish. If it does not fall into one of those three categories, you don't get it. Like, I'm not going to go to the dollar store and buy you a mug full of shitty candy and give it to you just because I need a gift to give you. No, if I don't have a gift to give you, it's like, hey, here's your birthday card. Like, sorry, no gift, but your gift did not come across my field of vision. That's how I gift. And that's when I give a gift to somebody, and I have many friends who will say, yeah, when she gives you a gift, it really is one of like the best gifts you're going to get because I really put thought and emotion into it. What did Callie guy say?
uh, C word,
Cunt?
shit, suggest a plumbing problem.
Cunt shit, yes, does suggest a plumbing problem. I wouldn't be surprised if she claimed she had that problem too. She claims she has so many problems, but we never get any proof of them. And if we ask for proof, we're assholes for wanting proof. We should just accept the fact that she's got problems. I do, you crazy bitch. Oh, my family. I could rant for hours on them.
I have the best
The
sister story I could tell. But I won't because sometimes she listens. And she'll shank me in my sleep.
yeah.
So,
Like the only person there's like a handful of people in my family right now that I'm really excited to be related to, and I'm not blood related to any of them. It's like my stepdad and my stepmom. The rest of you people I'm just really kind of tired of. Like, I'm not blood related to any of you people, but I like you people better than my blood relatives right now. Oh, I have this rule. My mom hates this rule, but when my parents got divorced, I told them both, if you date or remarry, I will never make my son call your new spouse grandma or grandpa.
right.
That's his decision to make if he decides to include that person in his family in that way. I will never make him call Callie Guy dad.
Mm-hmm.
I will never, make and his dad would never make him date anyone he was dating call them mom. That's just the way it is. My son has two grandmas and two grandpas. Those are the people he's related to. And if he wants to adopt other people in as grandmas, grandpas, aunts, uncles, whatever, that's his choice to make, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've never pushed that agenda. It really pisses off my mom. And my dad understands, and so does my stepmom, my dad's wife. And when we were out there, she kind of got a little teary and she said, I really want to sign his cards. I know you have this rule about no grandma and grandpa, but I really want to sign him Grandma Cindy. I said, you can sign him Grandma Cindy all you want. I'm not going to make him call you Grandma Cindy. Like, if he decides to call you that, what'll be funny is he'll have like two Grandma Cindy's at that point. If he decides to call you that, that's his decision to make. And my son is fully aware of this. I have this conversation with him regularly. I was like, you don't have to if you don't want to, and don't make anyone tell you you do. And he's like, I don't want to. I have two grandmas and two grandpas. And I'm like, see, logic presides. But
We have the same thing. I mean, my mom is getting married again, and she has two grandpas. One, unfortunately, she doesn't really know because he's back
In
Yeah, in
Pennsylvania with
Pennsylvania.
nudie mags and
With
cigarettes.
Nudie Magazine, cigarettes, and tasty cakes. But she's very, very close with her grandma and grandpa.
Mhm.
And then she's very close with my mom, who's her nana.
Mhm.
And, my mom's fiance, I would never, and my mom doesn't
Care.
want, yeah, she doesn't care. It does whatever, my daughter chooses. Right now, she just calls him by his first name. But she's pretty close with him as well. Like she loves hanging out with him because he talks to her like she is a person
Mhm.
versus an 11-year-old kid. Like he will have like real life kind of conversations about
Je suis Charlie.
well, exactly, stuff like that. Or he's very we'll just say like very historically oriented, and she's a history nerd, so they
They
get along
nerded
very
up.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my kid's the same way with his step grandparents. Especially with my mom's husband. He's a big outdoors guy, and we're outdoorsy. And my son, my dad taught my son how to fish, but I just never really get out to take him fishing. And whenever they take him fishing, he loves going, and they bond over fishing, and they bond over shooting. Like he's gone shooting with us all before and stuff like that. So yeah, he does the same thing. But I don't know why my mom gets so upset because I'm like, it's his decision to make. You can't force him into making that decision. You can't make him accept someone as his family if he doesn't feel like their family. Like, it doesn't matter how I feel about him. It doesn't matter how you feel about him. It matters how he feels about them. He's an entire human being. Like, he hasn't quite hit the age of reason yet, but he knows, stuff. And he should be allowed to make those decisions on his own. My mom doesn't get it. I love her to death, but sometimes she frustrates the fuck out of me. Fucking moms.
Moms.
I wish my mom was as involved a grandma as yours is. Like, yours is like, yeah, let's go to Disneyland and let me take you for a weekend so your parents can fuck all day. And my mom is not like that anymore. And she wasn't even hardly like that. She was like that before, but since the divorce, she's not been like that.
Yeah, my daughter with her grandparents, she has a week with them every year.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether they, stay there this past year, they took her to Disney World. But and most years they take her to Disneyland, but sometimes they'll just hang out and everything. But that's their special time. She's very close with them, particularly she's particularly close with her grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom, it is here. And so she loves just going to stay with her, hang out with her, and they'll call and text each other, and so they're really cool.
Yeah, I wish
But,
I'm so worried. My sister's about to pop out her baby, and like literally any day now. If she hasn't had her baby by Monday, they're gonna start inducing her, and so I could be an aunt any minute now. And I'm just so worried because my son really craves that relationship with his grandparents. And
right.
when we were in Pennsylvania visiting with my dad and my son were inseparable when they could be. Like he loved being with his grandpa and doing things with him and hanging out with him, and he just enjoyed the fuck out of that. And he was really, really sad when we had to go, and I was like, okay, we're moving to Pennsylvania, because I know he would get that grandparent relationship that he really
Right.
wants. And I know he wants that with his grandma because he loves hanging out with her and he loves going over there and he loves going to do things with him, but it's so rare that she does things with him unless like I ask her to watch him, or something comes up and we all happen to be going to the same fair together or something, or around at the same time, never actually showing up together. It's more like, hey, we're going to be there and we'll see you there maybe. But I'm so worried that my mom is going to create this relationship with my niece and my son's going to get jealous because he won't get that. He won't get the relationship he wanted. Because it's exactly how it is.
Different with the girl too.
Yeah.
I mean, that connection might be there.
Yeah, that it might be, and I'm just worried because he sees it. Unfortunately, he sees how my mom treats me versus how she treats his aunt.
Right.
He sees that. It's not something that can be hidden. It's like, any one of my sisters asks for any amount of money and it's just handed to them on a silver platter with a gold bow on top of it, I asked for $200 to rent a car to go to California, and they said no. And it's like, you gave her $500 to move a van she didn't move and then can't account for the fucking money, and you're not going to give me $200 and I'll give you an itemized receipt for it? Whatever. And my son sees that, and it's hard because I'm afraid that's what's going to happen with him, and I just don't want him to be as bitter and jaded as I am.
And he has to remember he has his grandpa, and he'll still have that relationship with his grandpa, and maybe you can try and make it an annual thing. My daughter doesn't get to see her grandparents as much, but like that week is very, 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 very special to her. Maybe you can make that happen.
We're gonna try. It's really expensive to go out there, but
it is. But you can also send him out. He's old enough.
Yeah, he is old enough.
And an escort and send him.
Yeah.
Because my brother, when he was back in Pennsylvania, wanted my daughter to come spend some time there, and we were looking at, what it would be.
Yeah, and he's. Woo, that's a whole lot of apron strings I'd have to cut off, but I could do that, especially if I knew a direct flight and he didn't have to change planes. He could just stay seated and get off and meet
I'd probably be chasing the plane. I don't know. Obviously, I didn't go through with it. I couldn't do it. I have a hard enough time that week that she's away.
Yeah, me too.
But, last year I would say was probably a little bit easier. Now that she's getting older, she's really craving to loosen those strings as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had another parent tell me, you just have to stop being such a helicopter mom.
I had my boyfriend tell me that recently.
Yeah. So and this was a parent. It wasn't even a parent I was friends with. It was one of her old classmates' parents that my daughter happens to still be friends with his daughter's stepsister.
Okay.
And so. And I was there, and he's like, you're going to have to, you're gonna have to cut those strings sometime. You're such a helicopter mom. And, as I'm pulling away, I'm like, fuck you, fucking asshole, fucking jerk.
I always get angry when it's true.
And then, after I'm like, well, all right.
I see your logic. That does not mean I am going to comply.
But that doesn't mean that we have the type of relationship that you can tell me these things.
Yeah.
I can't even remember your first name, dude. Like, maybe we don't need to have this conversation.
Yeah.
So, it's a work in progress. I did tell her this year they always do a school field trip, and they're looking to do a 3-day trip to the happiest place on earth that happens to be located in California. And, I go on every single field trip there is. I drive when it's local. When it was out of state, I went. And so this year I said, I'm going to let you go alone.
No, you're not. You're going to be staying in a hotel across the street with binoculars.
What's so funny is that we had looked into a soccer camp out in a different state. And that was my exact intention. Like, I was going to stay near. It was a sleepaway soccer camp. And my plan was to stay nearby. So same thing, like she's going to her first formal, believe it or not.
With a boy?
No.
She's going stag with groups?
Right. I don't think it's encouraged to go with a partner to the dance because it's for school. But I was a little leery at first because it is middle and high school together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, all right, I can do it. I can let her go. I will just be waiting in the parking lot. So I will be that mother that they probably call the police on going, there are some crazy ladies sitting in a car in the parking lot.
With binoculars and a notepad.
So every once in a while she peeks her head in the door and then runs back out before anyone sees her. But yeah. And Kelly guy said Kevlar.
Kevlar.
I knew that. Why the fuck can I say that? Kevlar reinforced steel apron cables.
Yes, that is
and
exactly
then he said,
what
love
I am.
You, sweetie. I'm assuming you mean her. Her, me, no, her.
Both of us.
Okay.
Just so you know that goes for both of us. No,
her? No,
hey, we actually recently had this conversation about my tendency to be helicoptery. Like, I
Right.
really want my kid to be very independent, and he is to a certain extent. He can make
Right.
his own food. He can, like, I could go upstairs and sleep all fucking day long, and he
Right.
can take care of himself.
That's what happens when you have one child.
Yeah.
That is an only child. My child is very independent.
Yeah, but I just can't.
Right. But there's certain things I can't
like,
let
well,
the strings go.
yeah, like, I've just recently started going to the grocery store and leaving him home for an hour or so at a time.
Right.
But the reason, and we got into this discussion, the reason that I don't ever think about just leaving him at home, why it's just an automatic response to pick him up and take him with me, is because I kind of like having him with me. Like, I am a single parent who has a great co-parent, but he works a weird schedule, and so he was really only ever off on the weekends, kind of like I am. Most of the time he goes to his dad's on the weekends. So when I'm done, when I don't have to be in charge of work or in charge of this or in charge of that, and I have downtime to be fun mom, I don't get him to actually do and be fun things with him. And so most of the time I'm like, discipline mom, and no homework, no, your homework didn't get done, you can't do this and you can't do that, and off you go to your dad's for, a boy's time in your underwear playing video games for 2 days,
That's how it happens.
And so it sucks because the only time I get where I don't have to be like super cranky mom is when we go shopping or when I go and do things. I take him with me and we have fun and we conversate in the car, and so it never occurs to me that I have the option to leave him at home because I like the option of taking him with me. But, plus my kid has some things going on, and if something happens and he can't fix it, he's a complete and total meltdown, completely just locks up, can't handle it. Hopefully he's getting better with that, but I don't really know because I don't leave him alone. It's hard to cut those apron strings. I know how hard it is.
It is, especially when they're Kevlar reinforced steel apron cables.
Yes, they are. And especially when you only have one. Like, it's not like if I fuck this one up, I've got a spare.
That's my theory.
It's like, that's my whole theory. It's like,
if I mess this one up, what the fuck?
Right, I don't have another. I can't have another
That's
one.
it. My sister has 5. If one's like a little messed up, she's got 4 that still have a chance.
Yeah, this is my one and only. And if I fuck him up, I'm screwed, because unless I adopt a baby from the Philippines, it's just not happening anymore. Although I'd probably adopt a baby from, like, China or something.
I want a child from Alaska. I've asked my brother to send me a child from Alaska.
Just pack them up in a little flat rate shipping box.
Ask their parents first. I don't want to kidnap. But they live in a shack with like 15 people and a little,
you want to give them their own bedroom. Their own bedroom and shorts.
Right. And I happen to have, internet access and a spare bedroom. And
we have to clean that spare bedroom out though, don't we?
Yeah. Yes. And we have running water and we have McDonald's.
Toilets?
None of that. We have toilets. We don't have buckets you have to go in and carry to the river. I totally can provide an ideal, and they can go back and visit their parents if they want. But I would like
you don't have to call me mom or nothing.
After you be like, hey, Toxie.
What's up, Auntie Toxie?
That'll work. That's good.
Hilarious.
Why are you off the camera? Oh, there you are. You must have been leaning back.
I must have been. Yeah, when I lean back, I'm off the camera. It's just to say, what kind of bra you got on today? She came over to my house Friday night for a meeting, and we were in forever, but I spent most of the time, I don't know if she noticed, staring at her titties. I did. I spent a lot of time staring at your titties. Because I think I love that valley between the boobs, and it's really hard for big girls to get that valley, but you have a beautiful one. I love it. Plus, you get to have like really pretty bras and stuff.
It's just a basic bra. I have a little cheetah print, just enough to be rar.
Rar. Just a little rar. If you were paying attention during one of the breaks earlier, you got to see my titties. I totally did a bra shot. I'm wearing the one that we call Bluebell. See?
That one's my favorite.
It's my favorite too. It's sheer. I don't know if you can see my nipple. Can you see my nipple?
Yes.
You can't in the camera.
I can see your areola. Hey, Aura. Yeah. Areola.
It's one of my favorites. She said it makes my boobs look small.
It
I said
did.
it makes them look even. Which
Yeah.
which is a really hard feat because I have one boob that's an entire cup size bigger than the other.
Good thing, Kelly Guy said, good thing they make voting booths big enough for two. I don't know what that means. I must have
Voting
missed
booths
that.
big enough for two?
Right. What does that mean?
I don't know.
What does that mean, Kelly Guy?
You're gonna have to
We missed
explain it to
something.
us.
Sometimes we're slow. Me, I'm slow. Not you.
And I don't get it. I was talking about boobs. Voting
What were we
booths?
talking about before?
Apron strings?
And I was talking about getting a child from Alaska, from a remote location in Alaska.
Where they have no toilets.
They have no toilets. They call them honey pots. They pee in buckets. Dump
Don't
it
they
in
have
the river.
incinerator toilets?
Well, not everyone.
Oh.
Only if you're fancy.
The teachers have incinerator
Teachers
toilets.
have incinerator toilets.
But that's only for number 2, right?
Right. You still pee in the honey pot.
Can you imagine having to haul a 5-gallon bucket of
You pay
pee?
the kids too.
Oh, you pay the kids too?
Right.
How much do you pay them? Like $1?
No, you pay them a couple dollars, not that much, and you give them some candy. But my brother's girlfriend underpaid the kids one time because she only had like $1 or $2 on her, and so she gave them that and some candy, and the kids will now not dump their buckets.
Really?
Yeah, because she underpaid.
Oh, that's crappy.
So literally.
No, that's pissy.
That's true.
They burn their poop to a crisp, right?
Yeah, they burn that shit up. So, and then they sort of have running water in their house, because again, it's a teacher house.
Mm-hmm.
But the running water, as they discovered shortly after being there, doesn't run into like underground pipes or anything. It runs
Drains
under
to
the
the
house.
house. That's fabulous.
Yeah, it just drains out down below. But the houses are on stilts because they live in marsh.
Right.
Like, so.
Isn't
Yeah.
that town sinking too?
The town is sinking and will be completely under within a year or two.
So have they already moved?
No, they have not moved at the not the Red Cross, some big government agencies
FEMA?
are working, maybe that's it, are working on helping them relocate the village. So they're going to have to relocate everything.
Wow.
And it's because of global warming and
Polar bears
Al
are
Gore.
dying. And Al Gore. It's because of liberals, Republicans, Democrats, and Al Gore.
I get it now.
Okay.
So Kelly Guy said, good thing they make voting booths big enough for 2. Otherwise, how will her son be able to vote?
That's true. This is true. Although if he hangs out much longer with Cali Guy, I won't have to worry about it because he'll indoctrinate him into the your vote doesn't count kind of group. So
Nice.
He's a jaded American. Very jaded. I am too, really, about politics. Because we've had candidates who are much more qualified and would have been better for our government, but no one knew about them because the big 2 said, we won't participate in anything that involves third parties. Even though our country was kind of founded on multiple parties. Makes me cranky. I think people need to be informed. And to be a Republican or a Democrat and to be that insecure in your voter, like if you really think you're going to win, you shouldn't give a shit who walks out on the stage with you at the presidential debates.
Maybe it was a timing thing.
No.
I mean, are you sure?
Nope, they flat out refused. They told the debating companies, all the companies that wanted them to debate, if you involve any third party candidates, we will not show up. Period. It was not the debating companies, it was the candidates who said we will not come. And that's sad because we had some great other options. Yeah. Gary Johnson, who believes that the government should have nothing to do with who you want to marry, or how you want to marry them, or where you want to live, or what kind of life you want to lead. The government should have no say in that whatsoever. Period. End of story. And they shouldn't spend nearly as much money as they spend. That just makes sense to me. But we didn't get to hear about him because he's a third party.
So what do we have left? How much time? I want to tell you about last night.
We got about 5 minutes.
All right.
4 minutes now.
I'll make it quick.
Okay.
So I went to Plush last night.
How was it?
It was pretty packed. A lot of people we know. I get more called by my show name when I'm at those events, versus some others who, it can be kind of a mix. But a lot of fun. So we got there. I go with a friend, And no less than 4 times within being there as I'm walking around doing my rounds. Hi, hug, how you doing? High five, fist bump, what's up? I keep getting, where's Mr. Toxie? Where's Mr. Toxie? And where's Mr. Toxie? And where's Mr. Toxie? So obviously, Mr. Toxie was well missed last night, but sometimes I am allowed out on my leash or off the leash, allowed out by myself. Um, so we're there, and a lot of new people, a lot of out of towners there who maybe they bumped into the event, by chance, or they were there on purpose. But I actually really discovered a little bit more about what it's like when you don't have a 6'5" spouse near you, and you are at an event. So I made a nice young gentleman friend who, despite my multiple times insisting, my problem in hindsight, I realize now I didn't want to be mean, and I didn't want to be like, back the fuck off. So instead, I kept saying, no, thank you. I'm good. No, thank you. Like, he wanted to buy me drinks. He wanted to dance. He really wanted to dance. At one point, he volunteered to call my husband to ask if it's okay. And so he then kept bringing up my husband, like, if you do call your husband, I'll just tell him, how beautiful I feel you are. And it'll make him happy. Don't worry, it'll make him happy. And so
only if he gets to watch.
Yeah, apparently, don't tell him that. No. Because this gentleman is he was very persistent throughout the entire night. I kept saying, there are a lot of single ladies in there that I can introduce you to. Let's go. But so anyway, the best part was he just kept he would come by me in different directions, and he's like, you're so beautiful. At one point he leaned in, he's like, I'm falling in love. And I said, sweetie, you already are, because he was married but had just taken his ring off. So he still literally had the indents in his finger. Of course, he has a full story and everything.
Of course he does. They always do.
This gentleman at one point, leaned in, and he went to, kiss my shoulder. Only he didn't kiss it. He put his lips on my shoulder and, kind of stayed there, smelling me or something. So, anyway, we'll just say, it was a little, he wasn't, bad. He wasn't gropey. He wasn't grabbing my ass or touching my boobs, which people, for whatever reason, feel free to do sometimes.
But I'm allowed.
You're allowed. But, strangers, I will walk through places, especially in a club setting, and I'll feel someone grab my ass. Big Cutie Eve has it happen too, where she'll go through and just people will feel like they can grab her ass.
But it's a glorious ass. Sometimes you can't help it. Your hand's just magnetically attracted to your asses.
Right, it just goes. But it was, anyway, we'll just say it was a fun evening. My friend and I had fun, but some gentlemen are very, very persistent. No matter how many times I said, I can take you in there and introduce you to a slew of single ladies. There are plenty in there. They will go with you.
No, the single ladies will want him to call them again the next day. The married women do not.
Maybe.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So we got about 30 seconds left. Do we know who our guest is next week?
Yes, I talked about it before. We have Dee Heffin.
Ooh, yay.
And Dee is bringing a business partner for a new venture that he's getting into. But we haven't seen Dee in a year, so...
Be lots of good information. Stay tuned next week for DHEF and hopefully live stream. We'll figure that out between now and then. This is Sierra.
And Taxi.
Sweet Cheeks and Desiree can't be with us, but we love them anyway. Have a good night, and remember, fuck often.